Hello, welcome again to Special Data Hub. Welcome back to your course, QGIS Origin. This is lesson 5 of this course. And in this lesson, you'll learn how to put all of your data, all of your analysis into a map. So we'll be working on making a map. We'll see how to add the map elements into your map and how to make it professional. So as you can see on my screen, I have a partially styled um, world, cities, and world's administrative boundaries. So we'll be putting that into a map. First thing I will do will be to right click here and say zoom to layer. Right click on the largest section of the map and say zoom to layer. This is because everything that shows on your map layout is what is on your map canvas. So you do not want to have that distorted in one way or the other. Another thing you could do, instead of just using your scroll wheel to zoom, you can hold down control and zoom it. It helps your zoom to go slower and more finely. Now, next thing we'll be doing is to create a map layout. So right click on your toolbar, and under toolbars, you'll see the map, no, the projects toolbar. Where are you? Yep, the project toolbar. Check this box, and then it gives us these options. So click on show layout manager. With the show layout manager, you'll be able to see a list of layouts that have been originally created at this point, and you can duplicate them or rename them or play around with them. With layout manager as well, you can create a map from a template, click on specific, and then use this button here to navigate to the directory where your template is saved and open it here. But in this case, we are creating an empty layout. So select empty layout and click on create. Let's call it Special Data Hub. Do well to subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that up till this point. Okay, that was saving. And also do well to join our mapping community to support the channel as well. Now we've created our map layout. We've created a map layout. Next thing we will do will be to set up the page properties. So what size of page do you want? What's your print layout? Click on page properties. You can select the size here from the drop down. Is it an A4, an A3, or any other size of choice, or you want to make a custom size? For now, let's stick with A4. Do you want it to be landscape or portraits? Let's go with landscape, and then we'll go with we are going with landscape because of the way our data is. Yeah, it's not always appropriate. So depending on your data set, then on the map you are creating, then you know what to use. This white heights will leave it not adjusted. You can change the background if you want. You can change the background to literally anything if you want. And then the exclude page from exports can be used when you have multiple pages. You can add more pages. Yes, you can insert 2 more pages. Set their work on their settings. You can set whether you want it at the end or before the page or after, and click on OK. So let's say you have 3 maps now and you want to export only one. So you can right click on them and change their properties and say exclude from page exports. But for this guy, I will say remove page, yes, and remove page, yes. The first element will be added to our print layout will be the map itself. So you click on add map. As you can see, when you hover over the point, the edge of the paper, it lets you know that you are right on the edge. Then you can draw your map. Good. Now, one thing we can do here is to adjust the zoom level. On the main properties of this map which we've added, if you've clicked out, it wouldn't show. So click on the map itself and you see the properties here to be adjusted. Item properties. Let's adjust the scale to a round figure. We just insert zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Enter. Now we'll zoom it, make it to zoom to adjust the zoom level so that I'll make it a smaller zoom. That will be 12,000. Let's see what that gives us. That's almost perfect. So 12,000. Good. Then we can, another thing we'll do for our map layout, for the map which we've added, is that we can lock the layer. So locking the layer will mean that any adjustments that are made on the background on the main map canvas will not be affected here until you unlock it. Okay, this also gives you the room to add inset maps. Since we've locked our layer, we can say we want to show Australia, the cities in Australia, administrative boundary of Australia and all its cities. Let's show this at this particular zoom level. We'll go here, click on map again, add map, and we can draw a map. And it shows you what is on your map canvas. So you can treat that separately. Let's delete this guy because it's actually a lot. Yep. And then we can lock this layer, make the necessary adjustments to the zoom level as well. Another thing you can do is to add a frame for your map. If you want that, you can also add a grid. Click on the drop down for grids, click on add grid, and then modify the grid. Modifying the grid, you can set this to use the mapping needs. Set that interval to millimeters for the units, and at 3 millimeters this is a lot, so let's set it to 30. Good. Set the y axis to 30 millimeters as well. Then the grid type, we can set it to crosshairs, so it only shows the crosshairs of this grid. And then we can add a frame. I don't really always do that. If you want that, you can add a frame. You can always adjust this guy. Let's continue on that. Ouch. I was editing my grids, right? Modify grids. I wanted to add something here to say draw coordinates. You can draw the coordinates of these points, of these grids points across the map. Definitely you must have seen something like this in the past. So on your formats, you can set it to decimal with suffix. You can also set it to degree minutes with suffix. I think degree minutes is okay. For the left, we can decide to disable it so that it doesn't overlap into open space. For the right, we leave it to show all. I'll show latitudes. Let's leave it at show all. And then outside frame, we can set it to vertical ascending. Yeah. Then we can set it inside the frame if we want that. I think outside the frame might be better. For the top, we leave the top as it is. We leave the bottom. Okay, let's take off the top so that it doesn't distort the view of our map title. Okay, so you can change the font styling and colors and anything else about the grid. You can make it a little more subtle. You can make it black, but transparent black, so that it's more subtle and less pronounced. Another thing you could do is yeah, that's for grids. Adding grids, you can experiment with any of the other settings of choice. Then next thing we'll do, okay, we need to add a different map here. I think let's just go back to this page properties and change it to portraits, since our field of view has changed. Let's make this our map. If you do not want to see the base map on your map, do well to turn it off on the map canvas. I'm sure you know how to do that. Next thing we will do is to enter a map title. So we'll go to text, add text. We can draw a text this way. What do we call it? I use uppercase because tree alien map admin boundaries. I can call it largest cities in Australia. And then for the fonts, you could use your scroll wheel to increase the font here, or you could adjust it clicking on the drop down and adjusting the font size to 35. You can adjust the fonts, the title text, the title color, the font color rather. Here, you can use your recent fonts. You can change your font styling here too, and as the case may be. Now for your text as well, you can add a frame for it. Okay, before we get to the frame, we can center it here. Let's zoom in a little more to see it better. Nope, I don't think that will look good. So you can see when adjusting it, it shows you a line that lets you know if you're aligned with the rest of the map layout. So you can make it to be center, make this guy to be in the middle. If it's a long list, you can set it to justify so that it's all on one line. I like to add a frame to my title because it gives it that physical boundary. And that's about it. Next we'll add a not arrow. I think this our grid is very obstructive, so you can do well to adjust it. After our last zoom level, it became really large. So we can add a not arrow. If you did not see where I clicked, this is it. Add not arrow. I like to add my not arrow around this point. click on the not arrow. You can select your favorites. Nope, this is not my favorite by any means. You can make it larger or smaller. At times, you could also adjust this, your title, map title, to fixing your not arrow just beside it. And it works that way as well. The next thing we'll add will be our legend. You click on the map in case you have multiple maps here. So click on your legend. We'll need to adjust our map to accommodate the legend. Let's do that here. Adjust this guy upwards. Now for our legend, we can format our legend this way. So let's just call it map elements. No. Yeah. So you can add a legend title. At auto update, it means that the legend properties, the legend items cannot be edited. So let's uncheck this auto updates. That's one step. And then you check this box to say only show items inside linked maps. Then choose only the items that are here on your linked maps. Remember when I said you could always adjust these your legend items when you're making your map? So do well to check back on that. If you did not watch that video, I will quickly show you how to do that. So on your layer styling, here on the legends, when you have set up your symbology and all of that, you can edit these legend items. There's another way to do that, but that's the better way. Another way to do that is coming here and say, double click on these. Remember, we're using millions, right? So this is going to be 0.15 million. Or this is 5 million. Now we can come here, double click on this guy and say, instead of writing this kind of random text, we'll say, let's use sentence case. Walls, admin, boundaries. You can put some brackets. No, it's not administrative boundaries, right? And mold population. World population million. The effect is made immediately. I don't want to see this OpenStreetMap despite it being there. So I can click on this OpenStreetMap and minus. If I want to add it later on, I can click on this. I can add any other data set that is not on the map. I can add it to the list here on the legend items. Now these legend items has refused to get in here. We can adjust this thing by using the columns feature. It's on one column, we can set it to 2 columns, and that solves our problem. And we can adjust the map legend this way. Let's see if there is something else we could do to make it finer and more spaced out. Yep. For the spacing, for groups, no, that's not what we want. Group headings. So from here, you can adjust you can add a frame to your map legends. You can add a frame to the map legends. You can add a background to the map legends. Sometimes automatically comes with a white background. You wouldn't notice it because it's also on a white background. So if you don't want to see that white background, you can always uncheck the background to make sure that there is no background, or add a separate background color. That's about it for our legend. The next thing we'll add will be, we've added our orientation indicator, the north arrow. Yep. And then we'll need to add our scale bar. So click on add scale bar and draw your scale bar here. Let's make sure this guy is placed properly. So you can adjust your scale bar here. You can adjust the units. Let's leave it in kilometers for our sanity, or you can leave it in miles, depending on the units of your data, depending on the units which you want, because it automatically adjusts. So then you can adjust the you can add a frame to this. You can change the position and all of that. That's about it. And then you can use this list here to change the position of one feature, one map element over another. So let's say you have this guy here. If I change the scale bar to come under the map, it disappears. I can still say I can change the map to come under the scale bar, and scale bar comes back up. So you can use this to make adjustments to how your map elements are organized. You can use your arrow key to shift these too, if that works for you. You can add you can add images. You can add images in the typical old-fashioned way. Let's go straight to pictures, screenshots. You can add an image by dragging and dropping directly from your directory into this. Yep. And you can add a rectangle around your image to see where are shapes. Add a shape, add a rectangle, and you can draw a rectangle around it. And adjust this as needed. So that's about it. We don't need this. We can turn off this guy. We can also turn off the image. Yep. Instead of deleting as well. Next thing, you can add a table. You can add your attributes table if you want to see that on a section of your map. Our attribute table is really large, so it might take a while, as you can see here. So what it will take from you will mean that before you add this attributes table, you would organize it. You would organize it properly to identify which attributes you want displayed on your attributes table. Of course, in the last video, yes, in second to last video on attribute tables, I showed you how to organize your attribute table um to hide columns that are not of interest. Let's delete this guy. So that's about it. Then always do well to save your edits. Control save takes us back here. You can always save your edits here. You can save your map as a template. You can save this as a template. Let's see it here. Save as templates. The idea of saving this map as a template is that QGIS origin templates. I want to save this. Let's say we want to work on a new project, okay? Let's say we want to work on a new project. You can click here like I showed you earlier, click on specific and navigate to the directory where it's saved and open templates, create new, straight up. So you do not have to start customizing. If you use the special fonts for this, you do not have to start creating the fonts from scratch or the font styling from scratch. Or you might have to change your knot arrow if your direction of knot, your orientation indicator, if your direction of knot is different. Your other map elements are mostly going to be the same. Your legend will auto update by just clicking on auto update, and then you proceed from there. That's the good thing of using a template. So the last thing we should be working on this video will be exporting your maps. You can export your map as an image or as a PDF file or as an SVG file. Let's first export as an image. Some developments, close this. You can select change the name of your file here at this point. Click on OK. Now at this point here, you can change the page width, page height. I will not advise you to do that here because it will distort your layout. I would advise you change those settings on your page settings. Yeah. And then set the resolution to 300 dpi. 300 dpi is enough. If you want more, depending on specification, you could always adjust that. Everything else can be left as defaults and click on save. Your map is saved. Clicking on this link here takes you straight to the directory where your map is saved, and you can always open that. Then you can export your map as a PDF file. Click on PDF, also close this. Here there's something I just want to show you. Now selecting this point as a geospatial PDF, include map themes, you can do that. And then you can select the layers which you want to show on your map. You want to show the OpenStreetMap, you want to leave the buildings, no? You cannot check the layers which you do not want to see and leave only the layers which you want to see, and check the attributes as well and save your layer. This will make it that if you have a good PDF reader, you'll be able to turn on and turn off certain layers on your PDF file if you export it as a geospatial PDF. That'll be it for this video. In the next video, I wanted to work on some of these geoprocessing tools like buffers, clips, but instead what I'll work on will be that I'll work on guided projects to help you understand how to use these geoprocessing tools, not just learning the geoprocessing tools as individual features. So sit tight and check on this feature. You can work on these projects, make a map of your choice, make a map of any continent of your choice, showing the cities or any other ideas, and make a post of it using the directions in the linked document. Thank you for watching and see you in the next